Hi.
Welcome to Book Pop.
I'm Molly Fish.
I'm Jamie Anderson.
It's the first episode we're recording post-election.
That's true.
So forgive us. But you know what? We're not really going to talk about that. Don't worry. We're going to talk about books.
We're going to talk about books.
We love books. We're going to talk about some of the great things we have going on at this beautiful bookstore, which is a safe, happy space. And if you need a safe, happy space in your life, feel free to come on down, hang out with us.
I do think we need to talk a little bit about it because post-election, working in a bookstore, in an independent bookstore, downtown Madison, has been quite cathartic.
It's a joy, frankly.
I really didn't know what to expect, but people are coming here for a little bit of joy.
Yep. Retail therapy, just being around like-minded folks.
A little escapism.
Yep.
We've had plenty of customers come in and ask for something happy to read.
Yep.
We're happy to help you find that book.
We have a table of coping mechanism leaning into feminist rage or just political analysis, anti-authoritarianism rhetoric. And that table has been selling very well. A lot of people are really interested. It's funny because our politics section in general has been just like one of the worst selling sections since we opened.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I keep shrinking it. And these last 2 weeks, it has popped off.
We have sold out of the politics section over and over.
And I was like, you know what? I think that is a good coping mechanism of like people being like, maybe I need to educate myself on some of these things because I don't know everything that I thought I knew.
Right.
Or I just want to prepare myself and be able to read someone who is well researched and intentioned and is thinking a lot about these tough subjects. And yeah. It's better than reading like the 24-hour news cycle, right?
Right.
It slows you down and makes you think a little more deeply about things.
Mm-hmm. My coping mechanism has been Gilmore Girls.
That's such a good one.
I have not watched anything but the Gilmore Girls in the last 2 weeks.
Did you start it over or did you just
Yes,
pick
I started
up?
it over.
And now you're on season
2, episode 8.
Nice.
Yep.
The early seasons really are the gold standard.
They really are. I'm just going to ride it out until it's over, and then maybe I'll face reality. But
are you in the Dean era still? Jess is there by now in season 2, right?
Yep. He has just showed up. He's wreaking havoc all over Stars Hollow.
I mean, what is better?
I know. He might be my favorite.
Jess is by far my favorite.
Yeah.
Milo Ventimiglia, get out of here.
I know.
Gilmore Girls is great. That's a great coping mechanism for really anything in life. I feel like that's just good advice.
I've been putting the Gilmore Girls playlist on at the store too.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I can handle.
I can tell when it's on. Well, because I know all the songs.
Yes.
So then you get triggered. And one time a song came on and I looked at Jamie and I was like, the song makes me cry every time because I can picture the scene in the Gilmore Girls. What's happening? And she's like, you can skip it if you want. I was like, no, I want it.
Never, she said.
I did. I said never.
Never.
Because I was like, I would never skip this feeling. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it.
Yeah, I get that. But no news. There's no news on my house, no news on my phone. My Instagram feed is nothing but babies and puppies.
Wow.
And puppies interacting with babies. I accept nothing but joy into my life right now.
And books and Bookstagram
And books,
probably.
yes, that's
yeah,
very true.
my Bookstagram has been very heavy for
Mm-hmm.
sure. But I've been trying to use my phone a little less and, just take some time away and take a little breather for myself from politics. And it's been weird because I look at my podcast every morning and I just go delete. I'm not going to listen to these. I pick out some of the book ones. I pick out some of the comedy ones. I'm just going to lean into that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's good for us. It's healthy to take these breaks, and then we can recharge and jump back in
Right.
when we feel ready.
Yes. And it's focusing on the things that we have control over and,
Right.
yeah, our own mental health.
And this is, we've really been focusing on the community here at Lake City Books. It's been so positive, like we said. Everyone checking in with each other, everyone being kind to each other. Yeah, we've got a lot of events coming up if you need to escape into one of those, or we've got some great Thanksgiving weekend specials. If you want to stock up on books for the winter to hibernate with and enjoy or get gifts for family members. Black Friday, we're going to have 50% off all used books. And we're going to have a little doorbuster of sorts by offering free advanced review copies on a cart, which will probably go quickly. So you would kind of have to come early to get the good advanced review copies. But we're hoping to have a really great weekend that weekend and just have a thankful and happy celebration of books. Saturday, we are giving away a free $10 gift card for any purchase over $100. So that is something you could give to someone and help them discover Lake City books, or just treat yourself next time you're in and get a little discount for yourself. And on Sunday morning, we're going to be giving away a free holiday tote. We have beautiful new holiday tote bags that you will get for free if you have a purchase over $50. And that's just while supplies last on Sunday morning until noon. So that's Thanksgiving weekend.
Should be a busy weekend.
It'll be busy. It'll be fun. Jamie and I will be here most of that time. And you can come hang out with us.
Speaking of events, December 8th, we are doing our finale show for Book Pop. Christy Clancy will be joining us for that episode. She's going to be live in the store and talking about the release of her book, The Snowbirds, which is in February of 2025. And we're really excited to have her. She is a gem of a human. That is going to be on a Sunday. Doors open at 4:00. Show starts at 5. Come and drink with us and chat with us and listen to a live episode. And
we'll have signed copies of her current books that are out, Shoulder Season and The Second Home. And it's just fun to be at a live episode. You'll get to ask questions and hear your voice on the podcast if we leave it in. If
you're not cut.
Yeah. Jamie's brutal. She cuts me all the time, you guys.
And then I don't cut her when she does want me to cut her.
I know. No control. No control is what I have. The other thing I wanted to give a plug for is our holiday happy hours. So if you have friends or coworkers or enemies or whoever you want to be hanging out with, you can get together and rent our space from 6 to 8 p.m. And there's no rental fee. It's free to come hang out. You can bring wine. You can bring snacks. Hang out together. Shop together. Do your Christmas shopping together. As long as you purchase a certain amount. So it is pretty easy to do if you've got a group of people and everybody buys like one book. Usually that hits the minimum and you get to come hang out here for free. And that's a really fun thing to do. You can book those on our website. You can book them in the store. And holiday happy hours.
Yes, and I do think that more businesses and offices should have their happy hours in a bookstore.
It's genius.
Yes.
So we're working with one downtown business that is buying a gift card for each of their employees and sending them here. And then so the gift cards meet our purchase minimum. And then the employees just get to come hang out and shop with their gift cards. And they're going to provide the wine and the snacks for everybody. And we're like, this is an amazing company to work for.
Right? That's genius.
So you could be that company too for your employees. Your employees would love you. You get to buy them a little happiness and it's pretty cheap.
Are you ready to talk about what we're reading?
Yeah, let's get into it. What are you reading, Jamie?
Well, I have 2 titles and they're very different. They're very, very different. Okay, so I listened to...
Are you doing that one first?
Yes. Yes.
I thought you would do the other one first.
Well, I was trying to get serious with this one.
Look, do it in whatever order you want. But I'm going to ask you about Mustache.
Okay, we'll start with my other one. Okay, The Message by Ta-Nehisi Coates. I have read all of his books.
Good for
he
you.
Is such just a voice of our generation and everything that's going on in our society with race and class. And I feel like I look to his work when I'm a little confused about the world. In this book, he goes to Senegal, is a Black man in an African country for the first time, but he's also an American. And it talks about that undertone of him understanding that he's different than the people here, even though he's the same. And then the next place that he goes is North Carolina, where he is there at like a school board meeting where a teacher has contacted him and it's like, I'm going to lose my job because I'm teaching your book. And all these parents have banned it and are against me. And he shows up at the school board meeting, and it's literally a room full of supporters. Like, and it kind of echoes that, the people who are banning books and against
Such a small minority,
it's such
those
a
people.
small minority, and they're not fighting for that. They're just initiating it, and nobody's doing anything about it.
Yeah.
So he's supporting this teacher in North Carolina. The next place he goes is Palestine, and it's him understanding more about the war that's been happening there forever. So it was deep. It was hard. It was gave you such, I don't know, a little bit of clarity. He started writing this book thinking that he was writing a book about writing, and it just turned into something totally different.
Wow. That's awesome. And this book is it's a little slimmer. I mean, he writes, I feel like they are kind of like digestible which is nice when it's so emotional and
Heavy.
and heavy and deep. And it's kind of nice that it's only, like 240 pages or something it's manageable still.
Right. And I think that's true for a lot of his work.
Yes.
I have to
Between the World and Me, I remember being.
Yeah,
I was like, it's like a
about the
little
same
punch.
size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a little punch in the face.
Yeah.
In a great way.
I have not read his fiction book, The Water Dancer.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
We have that though, and I've always looked at it like, I wonder. I mean, he must be great at writing fiction too.
Yeah, I'll have to pick it up soon.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was The Message by Ta-Nehisi Coates.
That's a great read for right now. That's a great thing for the coping mechanism.
Yeah. And
table.
I finished it before the election. So, I mean, I was coming at it from a different view then, but I also feel like he's just such a voice that is comforting in this time in general.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And to know that there are smart people who are out there and they're looking for different perspectives and they're thinking about hard things and they're doing hard things and they're fighting back against book bans and they're reaching out to places that a lot of us wouldn't go or can't go. And,
right.
It's amazing. He's very inspirational.
Do you want to talk about your book and then we'll come back to my other one?
Sure. I just finished this morning, actually, Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid. And you listened to this one too.
I did.
But I don't think we talked about it on the podcast, right?
I don't think I did. I think it might have been one of my summer listens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't talk about it.
Jamie listens to so many books, we can't even talk about them all. That's how many books she listens to. I really liked it.
Yeah.
I wasn't as familiar with the Macbeth story as I thought. And I had to kind of go refresh myself so that I could appreciate it fully. I feel like I was more into the Shakespearean comedies than the dramas.
Yeah.
And this is thought of as like the Scottish play. And it's very much a tragedy. Lady Macbeth is very much portrayed as a villainous character. And there's all the females are like, witches and evil handmaidens and this, conniving Lady Macbeth. That's kind of famously how these characters are portrayed, but this is a feminist, fantastical retelling in which she is given a lot more agency and is, and it's showing what this could have been like if some of the witchiness was kind of amped up, right? Like the witches that are saying all these prophecies about Macbeth, which is like very much what's driving him and driving the story forward, is he has these like deep-seated fears of being overthrown, and he goes to these witches and they prophesize him, and then that's what fills him up and says, oh yeah, I can take over these neighboring counties, I'm going to be the king, I will never be killed, because they give him these kind of like murky prophecies and he just interprets them however he wants. And so Lady Macbeth is his wife who is brought over, and she now is the lead character here, and it's showing her perspective on this stuff. She also has this kind of like witchy power, and it's just really beautifully written. It doesn't do all of the action of him going off and fighting wars. It's her perspective. She stays home and is in the castle, and what happens there and what she thinks of this and how he treats her and the little conniving things are all just her trying to survive. Like she is doing a lot of this stuff that she does in the play, but she is doing it for survival and for, I don't know, revenge sometimes, and for love sometimes, and to protect other women, which is not at all a part of the very male-oriented, male-centric play. So this is just, it's like Circe by Madeline Miller, right? An example of like this kind of evil character from mythology or history that is female and thought of as a witch and villainized, and it really flips it on its head of like, do we really think that's what would have happened? And just the writing is so beautiful, and the character, her character development and like the way they dig into her past. And I really found myself loving the world. And even when I couldn't really tie it to like something I didn't care. It's a story on its own that you can appreciate and love, even if you've never read or heard of the Shakespeare play, which I really liked. Yeah. And I feel like that's also similar to Circe, which is a book that stands on its own, even if you aren't familiar with the Greek mythology around that character. So yeah, I really liked it. It had a very satisfying end. It kind of has a twist on who the witches are, and why they're there. And again, just all of the female characters are given such powerful quotes. And I had so many quotes I wanted to say from like the end of the book, but it would give away things, so I don't want to say that. But I just love the way that it turns out also. Yeah. It was a great
ending.
Yes. Great twist.
Can we say love story?
Oh yeah, it is. There is like a very interesting fantasy love story in there, which I also didn't expect. What did you think about it from what you remember?
I remember liking it a lot. Yeah. I got a advanced listener copy of it, and also didn't have that much memory of the actual Macbeth Shakespeare play. But I agree that you don't need to in order to enjoy this book. I really liked the fantastical elements. I think that gave a lot to the story. I remember reading it really fast.
It's short, too.
It's short, yep. And looking at the copy of it here in your hand, like, I kind of wish I had gotten a copy because it's so pretty.
Oh, my God.
It's like neon pink. Lady Macbeth is on the cover of it, and she's like...
with her glowing black eyes, which is kind of like
eyes
her
and a veil. And
But they did a great branding of it to make it... It's like with Saltburn style font. That movie, that was kind of a hit. Like, I can see Gen Z really liking this book and as an object and as a story.
Yeah. I think that's a very good point. But yeah, I liked it a lot. I recommended it to a couple people as well, and I heard good things back from them.
I'm thinking about putting it on my staff pick as one of my fresh ones because I haven't really thrown a lot of new stuff up there, and I think I could recommend this to a lot of different types of readers.
Yeah.
Again, similar to Circe. I mean, that's going to be my number one comp is, did you like Circe? Did you like Song of Achilles?
Yeah.
Very similar, but even like more concise. Like it's shorter and very satisfying.
Yeah. Great.
Okay, well, you better tell us about your other one now.
Okay. So Lost and Lassoed by Lila Sage. So the reason I listen to so many books is because, like, when I go to bed and I can't fall asleep, I'll just pop in my earbuds and I'll turn on an audiobook and I'll put the sleeper timer on for like 20, 30 minutes. And then I'll wake up in the morning and I'll start it over. And if I like a book, I'll continue it. And if I don't, I'll probably just like listen to the same 20 or 30 minutes, like for way too long. This one progressed very fast. I could not sleep.
I was going to say, I bet it was hard.
I could not sleep.
To fall asleep.
Yes. So Lost and Lassoed by Lila Sage is the third book in this series per se, the Rebel Blue Ranch series. And I haven't read any of the other ones, so I don't.
It stands alone,
It
right?
stands alone.
I feel like there's standalone, but it's like the same universe.
Yes, I think like the other books are about different characters in this same kind of setting. But this one follows Teddy and Gus, and at the beginning of the book, they hate each other. And then they're forced in proximity when Teddy loses her job and Gus needs help in hiring a babysitter to watch his 6-year-old daughter. And
is he a single dad?
He's a single dad working on a ranch.
Hell yeah.
Oh my God. I know. I fell in love with him right away. So he hires Teddy, and they at first become tolerable with each other, and then things escalate, and then they have a little bit of a past where maybe a kiss happened a couple years ago and the reaction wasn't great. So there's a little animosity that has been brewing from that incident. But then things get real hot and heavy, like real fast. I was just like smiling, listening to this the whole time and blushing constantly. There's bull riding, like a bar that installs a mechanical bull. So she like conquers the mechanical bull and all the guys want her. Girl. Like, this just sets up every like ranching sexy trope. Yes.
We love to see it.
Yeah, so I loved it. And it was a great escapism for right now. Like, I just got to be on a ranch. And he's like, Gus is just the perfect. I mean, he's a single dad. He wants to turn this ranch into like a farm animal rescue.
Stop it.
Like, that's his future plan for this ranch. Maybe I can take in all these horses that nobody wants anymore and we can care for them. Just like, oh, ovaries.
Yeah, be still my heart.
So I had a lot of fun reading it.
So are we going to talk about the mustache ride?
I regret telling Molly this.
You
much.
should regret it. It's okay because you can cut this out later if you want to.
And cut this out
You have
later.
all the power.
So Gus apparently has this mustache. And while things are getting hot and heavy, there's a mustache ride that is discussed, so to say. And I was listening to this some night, and Stuart was working late. So like, oh my God, I can't look at your face.
Just saying it that way is really setting it up.
I'm getting so warm. Okay. Stuart was working late and I was like falling asleep, and I didn't see him when he came to bed. And we woke up in the morning and we both got up and I was making coffee and he was letting the dogs out, and he came upstairs and he had shaved his face into a mustache. And I was like, I need you to go downstairs and shave that off your face because I can't handle that right now.
Unrelated. Like you had not told him you had been reading about this.
Nothing about the mustache.
It was just a completely coincidental mustache.
Yes.
That is the great part of this.
Yeah.
And then it made you freak out.
I freaked out. I was so red and he didn't understand. He's just like, what's wrong?
Did you tell him ever?
Nope. No. It's just like, we can't talk about this. We can't talk about this.
Oh, interesting. Some little hang-ups in there to dig into, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe I didn't want him to know why.
Sure.
Yeah.
That you were reading mustache porn.
No, that doesn't bother me. He knows I read smut. That's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Gus and Stuart have matching mustaches. And that was what came out of this read.
Did he shave it though?
No. I actually can't wait for you to see him because you're just going to laugh in his face and he's not going to know.
100% true.
Oh, God. So, yeah.
All right.
Lost and Lassoed by Lila Sage. I think I will be reading the other
ones in the series.
Yeah.
Because you didn't know you wanted rancher smut.
I didn't.
And now you know.
I believe it's like done and dusted,
Mm-hmm.
swift and saddled,
Oh, yeah.
lost and lassoed.
Nice.
Those are great. Yeah.
Really good alliterative titles
Yep.
that, you know, predictably great.
Yep. Great ending. I mean, it's romance. It was, you know, everybody ends happy.
I feel like I know we talk about romance pretty often, but like, I just love it. And
I
especially
know.
times like this when you just, one of the most attractive parts about reading romance is that it is predictable, right?
Mhm.
That you know there's going to be a happy ending. That's what makes it cozy. That's what makes it fun to read all these different stories and different romance, and why kind of the covers are all similar is because people want to know that they're getting like a romance book. Literary fiction might end with a crazy twist. It might end with terrible tragedy.
Mhm.
And when you're reading a romance book, it's always going to have some kind of happy ending, right?
Yep.
And literally and figuratively. And that's what and it's not just about the smut, right? It's about the
Right.
comfort of
Yeah.
knowing that it will have a happy ending, and that it's this perfect little world that you get to jump into and escape into. And I think that's why a lot of us read romance.
Mhm.
And I plan on leaning into that a little bit this winter. I've been like kind of admonishing myself for not reading as widely and as challengingly as I sometimes do. And I'm just like over it. I'm not gonna feel bad about it. I'm gonna read fantasy and romance this winter, and it's gonna be great. And a lot of other people are gonna be with me reading stuff that is cozy and that they love and that will make them happy. And that's where I'm at right now.
I love it.
And I think one of my personal favorite things is holiday romance. So like we talked about it a little bit with spooky romance, that I love just like a themed romance, because you know there is the predictableness of the different tropes and there's always gonna be a happy ending, but there's gonna be different obstacles along the way, and we like some of them and we don't like some of them. But holiday romance as a trope is like so comforting to me. I just love the holidays, hence why the bookstore looks like Christmas chaos right now in the best possible way.
Right. We had to take last week off from recording just so we could spend the entire day decorating.
Entire day.
And it was very heartwarming. Like, it was the perfect thing to do.
It was so fun. It was.
And it's so bright and shiny now.
I know. I just come hang out here even when we're
Sparkly.
closed now.
Yep. Actually, it's quite beautiful when we're closed, or like at night.
At night
Oh,
with all the lights. It's really positive.
yes.
So for holiday romance, one of the series I'm thinking about, because we have a whole table of like cozy holiday books, which is mostly romance, let's be real.
Yeah.
But one of the ones that I might lean into is this trilogy that I've heard is really smutty. I'm talking about like 5 out of 5 on the spice meter, smutty.
Ooh.
And I'll tell you why. Because the lead character has a successful career as a plus-size adult film star.
Oh.
And in this first one, so there's 3 books out. There's like a new one that just came out. But the first one is called A Merry Little Meet Cute. And this is by Julia Murphy and Sierra Simone. And she's like getting cast in a very squeaky clean, family-friendly Christmas movie that she's supposed to, like, it's like going to be a breakout, and she's going to be a
Real actress.
like an
and-
actress. But then it turns very sexy because her co-star is someone she's like always had a crush on, like a former boy band guy who's trying to like rehab his career by doing this squeaky clean thing, because I think he might have had some like stuff going on. But then I think off camera it gets very sexual very quickly.
Uh-huh.
It just sounds really, really cute and also very sexy. But the fact that there's a trilogy really appeals to my fantasy brain.
Yeah.
Because then if you like the first one, then there's even
There's
more
more.
where that came from.
Mhm.
And so I think I'm going to be trying that soon. I have another book that I have lined up to read right after Lady Macbeth, so I'll talk about that next week.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to get into holiday romance. I feel like I read them well into January, February, because it's like that kind of keeps the holidays coming with you.
Yeah, it's still cold out. You still want to be cozy and feel the love.
Correct.
Yeah.
Do you have any holiday romance reading plans?
Well, so this book, I had bought it last year. And along with a bunch of other people, but it came in late. So I was like, okay, I'm saving this for my next year holiday read.
Mm-hmm.
And that is The Christmas Bookshop by Jenny Coolgan. She has, what is there, The Corner Bookshop?
Yep. Bookshop on the Corner, I think.
Bookshop on the Corner. Okay.
Which I love and recommend to people all the time.
I've never read Jenny Colgan. I know she has like a knitting one now. So I'm really excited to like get a little taste of her.
Yeah, I feel like I want to read this one too, because Bookshop on the Corner by Jenny Colgan I recommend it to a lot of people because it is very escapist. This woman literally moves to like Scotland from like big city London. She goes up to Scotland, lives on a ranch with a sexy single rancher. But
so what you're telling me is that's my next
I was
book.
gonna say I don't know if The Christmas Bookshop is like a sequel or related or if it's the same world.
Carmen is the character's name. Her sister Sophia.
I think it's different.
Mr. McCready. Does that sound familiar? Could be Scottish.
Remembering names is I was gonna say I actually bet it is the same world.
Okay.
It's just like really fun. And it's also a woman rebuilding her life narrative, which I like. It's not like, 20-year-olds in love or whatever. It's like a woman in her early 30s who's like, I just lost my job and I need to like figure this out. And she wants to open a bookstore. So like, you can see why I would relate to that. But then moves to Scotland and is like has a little traveling van and is like helping all these little people of Scotland find books. And so there's like really wholesome sides to it as well. But then like she'll like stumble upon the rancher and he's like helping a sheep give birth in the middle of the night. And then they like do that together and they're like laying in the hay exhausted and sweating and covered in like sheep amniotic fluid. And it's surprisingly sexy.
Trauma bonded, obviously.
But it's just like part of his life. And I think he thinks of her as like big city, whatever. She's not gonna. And then she actually is like gritty and helpful and interested. And yeah, it's a really, really fun read. And it's not as like sappy. It's got like real stakes, it feels like.
Yeah.
So there's like a lot more of just like the personal development side, but then and also the romance as well.
Yeah.
It's not just romance, but it is cozy for sure.
Right.
So I bet The Christmas Bookshop is mwah.
I think it's going to be perfect.
Okay, speaking of sheep, I feel like I should admit to one of my coping mechanisms just to connect with anyone out there who feels the same. And I think like for a week after the election, I wasn't reading. I wasn't watching television. I also wasn't drinking or snacking too much or like eating my feelings, which is normally something I would do. Instead, I was playing a game called Stardew Valley, where I live on a farm and I plant my crops and I raise animals and I milk them and then I befriend villagers and I give them gifts. And it's the most like comforting, wholesome game. And it's really beautiful, like art. It's bright and it's bright and colorful. And it's got happy little music that's happening all the time. And I have 100% of control over the environment, which is like a big thing for me. And so when I'm stressed and I can go into a game like this, I feel like it just really captures my attention. And I didn't scroll on the news. I like kind of took a break from social media. I took a break from a lot of things. And I just really do recommend if you're a gaming type person and you can get into that and you have some time and you're trying to distract yourself and keep your hands busy so that you aren't doing some bad habits, which is, I kind of do this preventatively to prevent other bad habits. I highly recommend Stardew Valley. It's a really sweet game and it's very fun and distracting and you can build up gold and you can then use that to make like I keep expanding my farm so I can get more animals. That's what I'm using my gold for. And now I have and you get to name your little animals. Aww. And I have like cows and sheep and I'm going to go get some, I think I unlocked ducks yesterday. So I get to go buy ducks today. It's very exciting.
Do you play on your phone or on the computer?
I play on the Switch.
Okay.
Nintendo Switch.
Okay.
That's where this one's on.
I'm glad you brought up gaming because I also do this. Like, I'll go into Instagram and I'll feel myself just doom scrolling,
Yes.
and I'll stop myself and I'll go to like Spider Solitaire or Tetris.
Yes.
Like, I like those puzzle games
Yep.
that are just
Keep
like,
your hand busy.
yeah,
I do Candy Crush too. If I'm like somewhere now, if I'm out and I'm waiting like to pick up my car or I'm waiting to do something and I'm like, can't scroll. Don't look at social
Yep.
media. I can go Candy Crush, and it's just like disengage your brain, engage your fingers.
Speaking of gaming, I guess where I was this weekend.
Oh yeah.
The state tournament for esports in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin State Esports Tournament.
Yeah, I think that's all those words together.
I love it.
Yeah, my son was on came from La Follette School to participate in the tournament, and there was a couple different games that they were playing, but he was playing singles for Super Smash Bros. And teams for Super Smash Bros. And he made it very far into the singles, but not quite the top 16. And their team was Division 1 champions for Team Super Smash Bros.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was fun to go up to, oh gosh, I forget some small Wisconsin town technical college in the cafeteria.
Love it. That's such an interesting. I was like, man, they didn't have that when we were in high school.
Right. And I'm just grateful because we were really hoping for an esports scholarship because I know like the football scholarship isn't going to happen. But apparently that's a thing now. Thank God.
Wow.
Yep.
Esports scholarships. That's crazy.
Yeah. But that was fun. It was super nerdy. I loved it. Jacob came up too, and Stuart. Like, it was the whole family came to watch.
Cute.
Rowan
Talk
play.
about a great distraction.
It was a good distraction. Yeah.
And I feel like when you're that age and you get to go do something like compete at any statewide thing and against like people who are outside of
The
your
best people in the
district.
state,
Yeah, like
yeah.
you feel special and you feel like you get to meet other people who are also doing this.
Mm-hmm. And
It's
also
a cool
get
experience.
challenged,
Yeah.
by people outside of their
Right.
region. And
Right.
so I think he had a really good time. They stayed over in a Super 8 motel, and I was like,
Have
how
fun.
was that? So he got some experiences that weekend.
Yeah.
But they had a pool, so it couldn't have been that bad.
No, I'm sure it was great. Well, we'll see you at the bookstore sometime soon.
See you at the bookstore.
We're here for you.
Bye.
Bye. Book Pop Podcast is presented by Lake City Books. Produced by Jamie Anderson and Molly Fish. Edited by Jamie Anderson. Music and art by Lovick. Follow us on Instagram at bookpop.podcast. Find out more at our website, bookpoppodcast.com.